One of the masterminds behind the Elden Ring universe, George Martin has confirmed recent rumors about a live-action movie or series based on the game being in the works. This makes perfect sense given the game's massive success and extensive lore, with speculation about expanding this world circulating since the game's release. Some of these hints have come directly from game designer Hidetaka Miyazaki, who mentioned that From Software is open to adaptations and eagerly awaits proposals from studios willing to tackle the project. Now, the author of Game of Thrones has added fuel to the fire with his own comments. In a post on his official blog, Martin hinted that serious behind-the-scenes discussions are already underway regarding the adaptation of Elden Ring. While he didn't outright confirm it, he acknowledged that producers have been eyeing the possibility of a live action lately. It seems that George Martin is somehow involved in the development. If Elden Ring does indeed get a film or show, his involvement would make perfect sense given his extensive experience with adaptations, considering his ties to Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. Though Martin coyly claimed to know nothing and never officially confirmed anything, he didn't rule out the possibility of a live-action Elden Ring, and let's be real, he brought up the potential project out of nowhere. No one was pushing him to spill the beans, and the buzz about an adaptation wasn't that public until his little teaser sent fans into a frenzy. Martin's followers didn't take his message as a joke and have convinced themselves that an Elden Ring adaptation is definitely in the works. Martin contributed to the game's fantasy world, so there's a good chance he'll be involved not just as a producer, but also as a writer for the upcoming project. Miyazaki's comments about From Software's lack of experience in filmmaking and the need for a solid writer and director for a live-action Elden Ring seem like a public hint that something is brewing. Of course, these news have stirred mixed reactions among game fans. Currently, they're engrossed in the DLC titled Shadow of the Erdtree, which sold over 5 million copies within days of release. The base game itself has surpassed 25 million copies sold and continues to dominate bestseller charts. The game is thriving, but does Elden Ring really need an adaptation? That's a good question. How can you adapt such a non-linear RPG into a one movie or show, and who would even be the main character? There are plenty of valid questions, but zero answers so far. Given the current hype of Elden Ring and a trend for game adaptations in general, we might be looking at a full-fledged Elden Ring cinematic universe. Historically, video game movies have had a rough ride, but recent hits like the Super Mario Bros., the Sonic Trilogy, and the Fallout series show that the problem lies not in the idea of adapting games, but in the quality of those adaptations. With George Martin on board, someone who can definitely expand the lore of Elden Ring and craft a compelling narrative, a potential adaptation could be as engaging as House of the Dragon. Martin's name alone in the credits would draw even those who have never played the game. A live-action Elden Ring has all the potential to be a real hit like the original game. It all boils down to the story, the director, and the studio that takes on this massive project.